Hi, I'm Lance Henriksen. You're watching Bryan Lomax's Movie Talk.
Brooklyn is directed by John Crowley, who previously directed a film called Is Anybody There? Now, I wasn't overly blown away by that film. I thought it kind of lacked any real emotional resonance for me personally. But with this one, I think he's come back all guns swinging. I think this is a fantastic film. It's adapted from the book by Colm Tóibín, and the adaptation is done by screenwriter Nick Hornby, who previously did like High Fidelity and a few other really good films. And this film explores the theme of home. What is home? What does it mean to be home? Is it really where the heart is, or is it just where you are at any given moment? We follow this character played brilliantly by Saoirse Ronan. I've been a fan of Saoirse Ronan ever since I saw her as a young girl in Atonement, again another brilliant period drama, and she handles this character she's playing here just absolutely spot on. And she plays this girl who has to leave her home in Ireland and go for a job in America. It's basically the only opportunity she's got to raise her prospects, so to speak. And she's given this opportunity by this priest, this father played by Jim Broadbent. He's this really nice character, really good character, which really offsets a few other characters actually within the church, so we say, that are not so nice within this film. So that was nice to see. But she's given this opportunity to go to America, and the film really then becomes about, well, is America now her home? Because she's there, can she allow her heart to let go of Ireland, of her memories of being back home in Ireland, or does she need to return there? Does she need to go back home? I think the script, the performances and the direction all really coalesce beautifully to give us a sense of this character's belonging, of her eagerness to get back to the things she loves, to the people she loves, and to find a sense of community that she once had in Ireland, but in her new home in America. The film is very well paced. It's quite slow, but you never feel it's plodding. It's always building character. You're always getting a sense of who this woman is and the sense of her growth as she comes to terms with living in a new world. And Ronan really does have to carry this film. Aside from a couple of scenes, 3 or 4 maybe, that we see back home when we go back to her sister and her mother, which are really very brief, she carries every scene in this film. She's in every scene in this film, as I say, except for those few. And she does a lot of crying in this film. I would imagine this was quite a exhausting role to play, but you don't feel weighed down by it all. It never becomes, well, like the recent Suffragette, which I still hold to be a very good film, yet you felt the weight of that. You felt a little bit bogged down by the time you got to the end of it because there was so much darkness. There wasn't much brevity in it. Whereas this one, you don't feel that, even though, as I say, there are a lot of waterworks throughout. I must say that I do prefer the film when it is in Brooklyn to when it is in Ireland. It just seems a lot more lively, a lot more colourful. Personally speaking, out of the two places as they're depicted here on film, I would certainly probably find myself calling Brooklyn more like home than I would Ireland. But that's down to the depiction in this film, not necessarily anything to do with my knowledge of the real places. But also it's the people. We have a lot more colourful characters, I feel, in the Brooklyn section, a lot more kind of outgoing characters. Where in the Dublin section we get, for me, some characters that I just really don't like. The most notable one being Miss Kelly, played by Brid Brennan. And for me, she was one of the downsides of the film, of which there are very few, in that I felt she was just a little bit too over the top. She plays one of these typical kind of stereotypical kind of women who is just like, she's very religious, but she feels like she has to push that on everyone else, and she uses it as a power game, as a way of manipulating people, and I accept that people like this exist, but for me it was just played a little bit too much over the top. I think they could have had that same kind of character but just toned it down a little bit so that she felt real, I guess, more like a real character, more believable rather than this real over the top monster. Also great in supporting roles are Fiona Glascott as the sister Rose and Emory Cohen as the love interest Tony. I liked his character as well, and I was always rooting for him in the film. He's quite an easy guy to like, very family-driven kind of man. When you see him with his family, there's a scene in which Ronan's character goes with him to see his family, and they're all sat down at a dinner table. I really liked that scene. I liked that they were a close-knit family. They're not the richest family in the world, but they were very close-knit, and you want that for this character. You want that for the main character. You want her, if she's going to find a home, if she's going to find somewhere to belong to, you want her to be in that kind of environment. So you're always rooting for him. Ultimately, this is one of the best films I've seen so far this year. I think it's probably the best British film I've seen this year. And it just does a real wonderful job of getting me caught up in this character, this lead character, a strong female lead character, which we are seeing an awful lot more of now, which is really great. So if that appeals to you, if that's the kind of thing you want to watch, then look no further than this film, because it really is quite brilliant. I give it a 9 out of 10. So if you've seen Brooklyn, please comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And while you're at it, why don't you tell me what your favourite film set in that city is? Until next time, thanks for watching.